What is going on, guys? This is Daniel, and today I'll be highlighting a pretty unknown wing player, the Hornets' Cody Martin. Martin was the 36th pick in last year's draft, and while his stats are modest, he was one of the more underrated rookies in his 19 minutes per game. He showed some real promise as a winning player, so let's get to it. But first, it should be noted that Cody has an identical twin brother named Caleb also on the Hornets, so just keep that in mind if you think you're seeing double during the video. One of the biggest ways Cody makes an impact is with his off-ball defense. He consistently does a good job of rotating on the weak side. Here for instance, as Zeller comes over to help, Martin does a good job of helping the helper and sinking, and then as the ball is skipped, his teammates cover for him, and Martin then has the awareness to rotate out on top and cover the next shooter. Really nice job. He has good instincts, and here we see him tag the roll man and then quickly recover on the pass. And his feel for the game will be a theme throughout the video, as he always seems to be a step or two ahead reading the game. And what also stands out is his engagement level. He almost never loses focus. For example here, Gordon tries to backdoor him, but he stays alert and gets the steal. And I didn't come across one time he got backdoored. Now outside of his feel and engagement, the hallmark of his off-ball defense is his dedication to protect the rim, even as a wing player. Now what do I mean by that? Well, for one, on his rotations, he always prioritizes protecting the rim, and here we see he does a good job of sinking to take away the layup, even though it leaves Ross open for three. This stood out on film, so it was no surprise to see that with Martin on the floor, Charlotte allowed 2.1% less shots at the rim, which isn't an insignificant amount. And here we see him shrink the floor in transition, taking away a drive and living with the three. He can get a little too aggressive with his help at times, and here he comes too far off of a good shooter in Mills, who makes him pay. But he'll get smarter about who he can and can't help off of, and I like this. Even off of a 36% shooter in Alonzo Trier, Martin disrupts the drive with good nail help, and at the end of the day, protecting the rim is most important. The other way he adds rim protection is with his ability to take charges. He shows good grit and feel sliding over to take these on drives. Tremendous basketball IQ here. After a switch, he fronts the post, and then when White drives at him, Martin takes the charge. He's taken 14 charges on the season, which is 8th most in the NBA, and that's especially impressive considering he's a bench player. He's just elite at taking charges. And when he can't take a charge, he's willing to go vertical to still protect the rim. Here he rotates over, and while he can't get his feet outside the charge circle, he goes straight up and still protects the basket. Now, he's not the only player who will go vertical at the rim, but he's a stark contrast from some other wings who don't want these challenges. For example, here Bogdanovic has a chance to take a charge or go vertical, but instead he avoids contact. Next, Martin also adds value with his on-ball defense, and what particularly shines through is his effort level. He's not afraid to pick guards up early to disrupt the offense, and here he forces a turnover with his pressure. You can see how he does a lot of the blue-collar work. He takes charges and he'll apply ball pressure. Notice how he meets White near half court, and when White tries to drive by him, he holds his own. His effort also shines through in ball screens. Notice how at first there's space between Martin and Dinwiddie, but then Martin jumps forward to impact the ball, and getting tight like this lets him fight over the screens well. At times he can definitely get hit by screens, but I like how he doesn't die on screens when he does get hit. Here he runs right into Jordan, but notice how he fights to stay in the play, and while the guard gets an open shot, Martin gets into Jordan's legs to box him out. And this intensity level earns him the toughest matchups. He's the guy Charlotte throws on the best offensive guards, and this game he was on Harden, guarding him tight full court. Now the thing is, in terms of lateral quickness, he's pretty ordinary, and this limits him to a certain extent, as guards can occasionally blow by him. But he tries hard and he anticipates well, allowing him to punch above his weight and stay in front most of the time. I wouldn't call him great on ball yet, but he's certainly useful, and also it's important to mention he's an excellent defensive rebounder. He rebounds 14.7% of opponents' missed field goals, which is in the 90th percentile for his position, and here he gets a 50-50 ball. That stat is extra impressive considering he frequently guards point guards out on top, and what stands out is just his activity and pursuit of the ball. He works when others like to rest. When we look at the advanced metrics, they like Martin's defense, and I think it's accurate to call Martin a good defender. He's smart, active, and at 6'5" he has solid size. Now offensively, the numbers are less favorable, and that's because of his shooting ability. He shot a ghastly 23% from 3 on 3 attempts per 36 minutes, and this is the major catch with his game, because as a low usage role player, spot-up shooting is vital. He'll turn down open threes when defenders help off of him, and this can really stall the offense. Add in the fact he only shot 65% from the line, and he wasn't a threat in the mid-range, and the shooting is very clearly holding his offense back. But I think it would be a mistake to dismiss his offense entirely, because other than shooting, he's a well-balanced offensive player. For one, he's active at moving off ball as a cutter, and here he gets it on a backdoor. Cutting is essential for poor shooters because it can keep defenders honest, and here when Murray helps off of him, nice job by Cody to cut along the baseline. He's a good offensive rebounder too, in part because of the cutting. Here, he doesn't get the pass, but now he's in position for a putback due to the cut. Martin isn't a volume scorer, but at least he does finish adequately at the rim. He shot 64%, which is in the 65th percentile, and he has good touch inside. But by far what's most eye-opening is his passing. He averaged 3.8 assists to 1.8 turnovers per 36 minutes, and his feel for the game is clear. For example here, he looks inside to Washington, but with Jokic helping, he whips it over to Hernan Gomez, where only he can catch it. He mostly plays off ball, and while his shooting obviously hurts, at least he can attack a closeout and make the right play. And this is a winning play if I ever saw one. On the rebound, he tips it out to a teammate. Spectacular awareness. He can also work as a secondary pick and roll threat. He was a point guard in college, so not only can he pass, but he can handle it too. This is a terrific skip pass off of the handoff, and he makes this skip regularly, which is not typical for a rookie. And what's fun is he's one of the spicier no-look passers in the game. It's not just for show, he'll create real advantages with it. Here leading the break, there's a bit of a 2-on-1, so by looking at Graham, Cody freezes Martin. And we'll finish with this beauty, as Cody fools Murray with a sweet head fake. Well, there you have it, guys. Now, the one thing I haven't mentioned yet is that Martin is already 24 years old, so you do have to wonder if the shooting hasn't happened yet, maybe it's not in the cards. But regardless, he was useful for Charlotte this season, and if he can improve his shot, he becomes super interesting. I'll see you next time.